I don't know about y'all, but I'm very, very excited and stoked for this new Travis Scotland album, Utopia or Dystopia, Topia, whatever. Maybe you can tell by the amount of videos that I've uploaded on this album just in the past week, but we are learning new stuff every single day. But today I found this one post on the subreddit, Travis Scott subreddit, that I wanted to go over with y'all because I thought this was pretty interesting. So let's jump straight into this. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Real quick, if you don't want to listen to this, make sure to skip 10 seconds into the future, but you can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and details everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. So we are guessing that Utopia will drop on June 23rd or June 30th. I also got a video coming out on that specifically because there's new info that we got to take into consideration. Also, we don't know if it's going to be a double album or Topia with Dystopia or just Utopia. Really confusing. I dropped a video yesterday going over the possibility of this being a double album, but I was browsing the subreddit just, looking at what people were maybe discovering, hinting at, whatever, maybe some new material that we got, and I came across this one post that was about the predictions or the expectations that people had for this album. And obviously we don't know any of this for sure, but I always think that it's pretty cool just as a community, as fans of an artist, to come together and make speculations about the new album, if that doesn't take away from the enjoyability, or if we don't set ourselves too high of expectations and then be disappointed when it comes out. But let's take a look at this post from the user Inverted Bullet on the subreddit. If you're watching this by any chance, shout out to you. Let me know in the comments. He said, predictions, Topia, Travis Scott, and I like that he also said that it's going to be called Topia. I found this after I had the theory and I presented that theory in yesterday's video. As I said, check out that video. But he says this was, written down on May 22nd, so at the point of recording this 5 days ago. And he said he kind of did this in two parts. First of all, he said logistics, and then he said Dystopia album exists and will come first. And as I said, I go into the evidence on that in yesterday's video, but at this point, I also think that that is going to be the case. Just the fact that everybody's just calling this Topia and not Utopia hints at that. Then he said concept heavy double album, and with the concept heavy, I gotta say that Travis really has the opportunity to make this great, because you have those two great concepts of Dystopia and Utopia, and people are already expecting both of them to drop, as seen by me doing videos on it, this guy posting that theory on the subreddit. And when you have those two different things, Dystopia, that dark place where everything is kind of wrecked, and Utopia, the perfect world where everybody is happy, you can also very well combine that and kind of include that in the music you're making, because we have darker sounding singles, we also have brighter sounding singles, and I think that you can definitely pull something really cool off if you kind of do this in the concept heavy album. But let's keep going. He says total of 16 to 21 songs from entire double album. I also hope that this is true. In the meantime, we've had the theory that it's going to have 24 tracks because of some Instagram stories that Mike Dean reposted, but still, I think that this would be definitely the perfect length for this album. And he says Dystopia coming June 30th, 2023, and Utopia coming August of 2023, so that it's not going to be a double album in one take so that we get all the material at once, but rather we would have Utopia coming out at a later point and Dystopia coming out before. I thought that this was a pretty interesting thought that I hadn't considered before either. Now also he's saying that's going to be dropping on June 30th, not June 23rd. That has to do with some new Billboard rulings where now you can kind of count merch bundles or album bundles sold in your sales again. That's the reason that Travis Scott beat Nicki Minaj back in 2018 with his album Astroworld against her album Queen. And it's likely going to be that he's going to kind of, make use of that again. But as I said, I got a video in planning for that topic too. And he said to that, rollout similar to 2020 Taylor Swift, two separate releases months apart to prolong rollout. So Taylor Swift dropped Folklore and then Evermore later on that year, like half a year later. And so she was, pretty hyped around that time. That would be a way to do it. I would like to see Travis do something like that, like some crazy rollout that we're kind of just watching, maybe like the Donda days for Kanye. That would be dope. Then he said, new red visual on right sneaker is part of the album cover. If you remember, we got some snippets, some pictures of a new Jordan, some new Cactus Jack Jordans, and we had this weird thing on the back of them that we didn't know what that was. Some people made the theory that it was an, Ross Island, but then nothing is connected to that. So he's saying that's going to be the album cover of this. And then he said the brown cover from Road to Utopia 2022 Zouk nightclub events is not the cover. So that cover that you can see right here is what I've also been using in a couple of posts and videos, because that was the closest thing we had, because we only had those Zouk nightclub appearances. But he said that is not going to be the album cover. Rather, Takashi Murakami made the album cover. I don't know the evidence for this. Let me know in the comments if there is any evidence on this. But it will be dope. We can't deny that. Then he said, the Sicko Mode hit song of this album will feature The Weeknd and or Don Toliver. I don't know why, it's just a prediction that he kind of came up with, but we know that he's working with The Weeknd. The Weeknd also got confirmed as a feature on Utopia through that picture with him and the briefcase, so we know that The Weeknd is also working with Mike Dean very closely, and Mike Dean is mixing and mastering Utopia, so that will make sense, and Don Toliver kind of as his protege. Now, we also went into the featured artists, so I think that that's also pretty interesting. He said the usual artists, any artist who previously appeared on the Travis Scott album may return, including Uzi on Watch. Makes sense. But he then lists a couple of new people. He says Roddy Ricch, Labyrinth, 070 Shake, Lil Baby, Sofago, Luxury Tax 50, don't know who that is, let me know, Rihanna, Lil Durk, Playboi Carti, Baby Keem, Tyler the Creator, Brent Faiyaz, Yeet, J. Cole, Pusha T, and SZA. Now that would be dope. If we got any of those on there, that would be dope. Now, we gotta, say that Travis Scott has done features for some of these artists in the past, but they have not been featured on his album. Now, when it comes to the features, we got no idea. We got a couple of snippets. Cinderella with Future, for example. We know that I think James Blake is pretty much confirmed for the album as well. So we know that some of those people are going to be on the album, but other than that, I don't want to go into that as much, because that is really pure speculation and just hopes from this user individually. But I like that he puts them in here. What I think is really interesting is that theory about this thing coming in two different waves, so Dystopia and Utopia, and that might explain why we've only been seeing teasers and, kind of those hints with the briefcases and the Mike Dean pose and the license plate on the truck that he was getting out of with Topia and not Utopia. So, as I said, if you want the full breakdown of whether or not this could be a double album, make sure to check out the video that I dropped on that. Very, very informative, and a bunch of, kind of research went into that. So that was definitely a great video. Now let me know what y'all think about the predictions, though. What are your predictions? Do you agree with these? Do you want anything else on the album or anything not on the album that this user now listed? Make sure to let me know, and all of the theories that you got on this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.